We're going to take some off-topic questions. Off-topic questions. I'm going to start with NJ in the back.
Good morning, sir. If you could just wait 1 second for the mic. Thank you. I want to make sure I can hear you.
Yes, good morning.
Yes.
I'd like to get your reaction to the shooting that killed the 12-year-old in the Bronx. And for example, you know, earlier this year, the commissioner separated the Bronx into 2 police precincts precisely to curtail this kind of violence. So please, your reaction to that. Does more need to be done?
There's always more to be done. We can never accept that a 12-year-old boy sitting on his bicycle outside of a bodega could be killed in our city. And my family breaks, my heart breaks for the family of Jacob Freitas. We are speaking of a young man who should have been able to do what every New Yorker should be able to do, which is just live their life in the summer in this city. And I was only a few blocks away from where he was killed just yesterday at the Bronx Dominican Day Parade. And even at a day that so many look forward to for so much of the year, it hung over that parade because it is an ache in our souls. And I am so appreciative of the work of our NYPD, of having gotten more than 2,000 guns off of the streets in these first 7 months, and in the fact that they have already apprehended William Ferrer, who for the murder of Jacob and for the shooting of 2 others. And yet we also know that we can never say that enough has been done when we are seeing our children being killed on our streets.
And then I'm going to go to Miles at Bloomberg.
I wonder if you can, today is the deadline for the expiration of TPS for Haitians and Syrians. I wonder what the city is doing to help those populations here, and are you on alert for any ICE-related enforcement actions?
We know that Haitian New Yorkers, Syrian New Yorkers, they are a part of the fabric of this city. And we also know that while a judge stayed that decision until today, that it still has left so many living in a state of permanent insecurity and anxiety. And we are speaking about New Yorkers who have been a part of the lifeblood of the city, who have helped to make this city what it is. And our administration is not going to allow these communities to be terrorized on their own. We are going to be standing up for these communities, and we have instructed our Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs to continue to connect families to free and confidential legal help. That is something that is going to continue, as is the fact that our city services are going to be accessible no matter what the person calling status is. And at the federal level, we also know that Congress does have the power to give these families permanent protection, whether they be Syrian New Yorkers or Haitian New Yorkers. And it should use it now, before more parents are separated from their children. And it is something that I am very much adding my voice to the call for Congress to take this action to do.
Then we're going to go back to Marcia and Henry. Keep my promise for an off-topic.
Mr. Mayor, there was a number of people from...
Sorry, would you mind bringing the microphone up?
A number of people who were survivors of 9/11 are calling on you not to go to 9/11 memorial services. I wonder how you feel about the fact that they're trying to keep you away.
I will proudly honor the families, the survivors, the first responders forever impacted by that horrific terror attack by standing alongside them at this year's 9/11 commemoration, reaffirming that we will never forget the solemn day felt by all of us who call this city home, and frankly, by all of us who call this country home.
Hi, Mayor. I was just wondering if you
Yes.
could also respond to Prime Minister Netanyahu's comments on Fox. I don't know if you saw them 24 hours ago or so, saying that you, in fact, were fomenting hate. It was brought up in the context of the Upper West Side attack that is suspected to be a hate crime. I'm wondering what you make of his comments, and if you have spoken to any federal officials, including President Trump, about your call to accept the ICC and arrest him.
So I'm not interested in getting into a back and forth with Prime Minister Netanyahu. What I will say is that here in New York City, one of my top priorities is keeping Jewish New Yorkers safe, keeping every single New Yorker safe. And we know that while Jewish New Yorkers comprise a minority of all New Yorkers, they comprise a majority of the victims of all hate crimes. And it is unacceptable. And I am thankful as we have seen over the past few days, that the Asian New Yorker and the Jewish New Yorker who were stabbed are in stable condition. I continue to wish them a full and a speedy recovery. And I'm also thankful to the NYPD for having acted quickly and swiftly to apprehend Raul Morales, who has now been charged, as you said, with not only attempted murder, but also a hate crime. And I look forward to him being prosecuted to the full extent of the law, because as we know, here in this city, we have no tolerance for hatred. We have no tolerance for bigotry. And I also want to make one thing clear, which is that we have to not only do the work in response to these kinds of crimes, but also to prevent these kinds of crimes. And that's why our administration made a decision to increase funding for the Office of Hate Crime Prevention by more than 800% earlier this year, so we can start to do the work of rooting out anti-Semitism and bigotry of any kind from across the 5 boroughs.
Followed up on your call to accept the ICC and make the arrest.
I've made my thoughts clear. I'll keep the conversation between the president, between him and myself.
Great, thanks. We're going to go with Kelly in the back.
Hi, Mr. Mayor.
Hi, Kelly. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
I just want to say we're down the street from where my family immigrated, so that's cool.
Oh, amazing. Are they still there?
No, no. My grandfather sold it and moved to Florida, like all New Yorkers do.
The affordability crisis.
So I wanted to ask you, going back to the 12-year-old that was shot in the Bronx, our reporter was able to speak to the family of Jacob earlier today, and they said that you were at the Dominican Day Parade yesterday, but you didn't spend any time at the scene or visiting the family. I wanted to get your response to that criticism. And also, have you spoken to Trump directly about TPS for Haitians and Syrians?
So I will just echo what I shared earlier. I'll keep the conversations between the president and myself between the president and myself. However, on the first question, our administration has been in touch with the family. I've also reached out to the family, and the family is going through something that no New Yorker should have to go through, and that is the kind of heartbreak of having to bury their son. And we are looking for every which way that we can be there for them in this time, and also looking to ensure that there are no additional New Yorkers who ever have to experience a heartbreak like this. Again, we're speaking about a 12-year-old boy who was on his bicycle outside of a bodega and lost his life as a result of that, through no fault of his own. And I've also seen some commentary trying to blame Jacob for his presence outside of that bodega, and I think that is frankly unacceptable, and it's distracting from the fact that gun violence is to blame for this, not a 12-year-old boy.
Great, time for just a few more. I'll go with Timmy.
Mr. Facciola, how are you?
I'm good, Mr. Mayor. How was your weekend?
It's good.
2 questions on the sheriff.
Yes.
One, why did it take so long for your administration to fire Miranda? And then 2, are there any city employees who were served subpoenas or had their homes visited by feds last week on the same day when the feds visited Miranda?
So I will get back to you on your second question. What I will say to the first question is one of the things that we understand within our administration is the critical importance of the position of the sheriff and finding someone who embodies the integrity that that position has to hold. And earlier I was being asked about Haitian New Yorkers. I'm incredibly excited that after this, I will be going to the inauguration of our new sheriff, who will also be the first Haitian American to serve in a position of leadership in law enforcement here in New York City. Thank you.
Time for one more right there.
Hi, Mayor. Going back to the topic earlier when it comes to the Prime Minister of Israel, I understand that you're making it clear that you're criticizing a particular politician, not the ethnic group, but there have been growing concerns amongst elected officials, some of your allies, such as the Attorney General, Letitia James, about the fact that comments and rhetoric may be rising temperatures. Do you take those concerns to heart, and what is your plan to bring down those temperatures?
So I think to your point, when I make criticisms of Prime Minister Netanyahu, they are criticisms of Prime Minister Netanyahu. And what I shared were not even, frankly, personal assessments, they were objective facts. And my responsibility as a New Yorker and as a mayor of this city is a responsibility to take care of each and every person who calls the city their home. And that is not based upon whether or not they agree with me, how they feel about me. My job is to make sure that they are safe, that they are thriving, and they continue to call this city home. And that's always going to be my North Star on how we can do that. Because this is an incredible city, and it's a city where everyone needs to know that their belonging to it is not conditional on how they feel about the mayor.
reason that you told the New York Times that you were still in active conversation with the legal department in regards to possibly following up on that arrest warrant when you were previously told that that necessarily couldn't happen?
I've said that all I have to say on that topic.
Thanks,
Thank you all very
everyone.
much.
That's all the time we have.
Thank you very much.